to review the production budget that is for the final project part 1. As you can see, I have entered my sales budget based on that I am projecting I'm going to sell 21,000 units in July, 22,000 in August, and 25,000 in September. I have put in my unit price and my budgeted dollars. So the first step in our budget is, of course, our sales budget, because we cannot determine our production needs without knowing how many units we're projecting to sell. Our production budget is that tool that we're going to create that tells us how many units we need to produce based on our current month unit projection, an ending inventory requirement, and a beginning inventory requirement. So I'm going to add my budgeted sales with my ending inventory requirement, and then I will deduct my beginning inventory. When we think about a company, there has to be an ending inventory requirement to allow us to have continuous operations from one month to the next. If we don't prepare some portion of our next month's units that we're projecting to sell, then we're going to start a month with no units to sell to our customers, thereby encouraging them to go to somebody else instead of to us. So how we remedy that situation is then that we have an ending inventory requirement so that we can go into our next month with a certain level of those projected sales in units completed. And in the same respect, I know that if I'm in my current month, I would have manufactured a certain percent of my sales in units the month before. I'm not going to remanufacture those, so I'm going to have to deduct those. So that is basically what our production budget is going to do for us. So I know that I need to incorporate all of these elements. So I have created a requirement of 65% of my next month's budgeted sales for my ending inventory. And I'm also told that my June 30th finished goods inventory is 18,000 units. So then based on my sales budget and these two assumptions here, I can complete my production budget. My next month's budgeted sales, percentage of inventory to future sales, my budgeted ending inventory, added budgeted sales, required units to be produced, deduct beginning inventory and units to be produced. These are each of the elements that we're going to incorporate into our production budget so that we can determine how many units we need to produce. I'm looking at July, and I want to know, based on my sales budget, how many units I project to sell for my next month. So my next month is August. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to enter my next month's budgeted sales in units, so it's 22,000. If I'm looking at August, my next month is September, it's 25,000. And we'll say that for October, we're going to sell 17,000. I also know that I want 65% of my inventory to future sales. All that means is I want a 65% of my next month's budgeted sales on hand at the end of the month before. So at the end of July, I want to have 65% of my August budgeted units complete. So I'm going to enter 65% in this row. My next line is requesting my budgeted ending inventory. So this is just a calculation. I'm just going to take my next month's budgeted sales and multiply by my future or percentage of inventory to future sales. Again, let Excel do your work for you. I'm going to enter equals plus, and I'm going to click on one of the cells that I need to multiply together, enter my multiplication sign, and then click on the next item that I want to multiply together and hit enter. So I know that based on my calculation that 65% of 22,000 units for August is 14,300. So I want to have that many units ready to go at the end of July to sell at the beginning of August. I'm then just going to copy my formula into my months here. Again, letting Excel do the work for you. My next row asks for my added budgeted sales. Again, it's just going to now be that month. So for July, I'm projecting 21,000 units. For August, I'm projecting 22,000 and 25,000 for September. This line appears, again, we know that in accounting, when a single line is present, it means there's a mathematical operation occurring. So my required units to be produced, again, I'm just going to sum up these numbers because I need to know my required units to be produced. So that means I have to factor in my budgeted ending inventory requirement and my current month's budgeted sales. Again, I'm just taking in my ending inventory requirement and my current month sales because that's my units required to be produced. Now I'm going to deduct my beginning inventory. Since we didn't do June, we have to look to our assumptions for that number for July only. So my June 30th finished goods inventory was 18,000. So I want to subtract that many units because I already manufactured 18,000 units of my 21,000 in June. So I don't want to remanufacture those, so I have to subtract those. So again, I'm just going to sum these numbers up. If you put the minus sign in front of this number, Excel knows to subtract it when you do your sum, right? So for August, what we have to remember is that my ending inventory for 1 month becomes my beginning inventory for the next month. So if we think about our checkbook, if on July 31st we had $2,000 as an ending balance, on August 1st my beginning balance is $2,000. It's the same concept with this element. If I look in July, I had a budgeted ending inventory requirement of 14,300 units as my ending inventory for July. That will be my beginning inventory for August. So I'm just going to subtract the 14,300 in August because of my 22,000 units for August, I'm going to manufacture 14,300 of those in July. Again, I'm not going to remanufacture those. Okay. September, again, my ending inventory becomes my beginning inventory. So the 16,250 units that were ending inventory requirement for August is my beginning inventory for September. So again, then I'm just going to sum this up. So now I know that my units to be produced to manufacture or meet my required units to be produced is 17,300 for July, 23,950 for August, and 19,800 for September. Okay, and then I'm just going to add these up, bring over my 65%. Okay, and you're just going to do that the whole way across here. Some of these numbers you will need for the variances. When you get those squares like that happened here, that means that my row is not big enough, so I just need to make it wider and then my number will appear. So that is the production budget. I hope that you have found this video helpful. If you need any further guidance, please let me know.